Gorod Krovi, DLC 3 for Black Ops 3, is held in extremely high regards to Zombies fans, like the rest of Black Ops 3. But is it deserving of being held in such high regard? Well, let's find out, and starting us out, as always, in the pros section is the lore. So, after securing Takio's soul from the Division 9 facility back on the island, in the non-broken cycle timeline, the crew teleport to Stalingrad and the Agonia Fracture, where an Ultimus Nikolai resides who is stuck fighting giant dragons in a mech suit. Yes, giant dragons. Due to a stalemate in the war, the Germans confided in Division 9 to chemically engineer giant dragons to terrorize Stalingrad. By the time Primus arrived, the city is in tatters, and they actually teleport above the city due to Max is still struggling to figure out the technology they use to teleport. As Primus falls, they notice this fractured version of the fallen Peter McCain soldier and grab his body and release his parachute, so they can slowly lower down to the city. When they touch down, Ultimus Nikolai notices them and opens fire, but not before Primus takes cover, and just as they take cover, a giant dragon swoops down and grabs Nikolai's mech and tosses it into a building, putting it out of commission. Nikolai eventually realizes that these intruders aren't actually against him and confides in them to get him a new power core so he can keep fighting the dragons and defending his city. So after reawakening Sophia, Max's wife, who was banished to a machine, they perform a bunch of tasks and retrieve the power core eventually, reawakening Nikolai's mech. When this happens, Sophia leaves the city to give Primus access to the sewers to travel to the location where the dragon resides. Once there, the dragon touches down, and with the help of the newly recruited Ultimus Nikolai, Primus take down the dragon before confronting Ultimus Nikolai that his soul is required to secure better tomorrow. Nikolai of course declines, and after a brutal battle between Primus and Ultimus, Primus take down Ultimus Nikolai's mech, and Primus Nikolai confronts Ultimus. He tries to sympathize with Ultimus Nikolai. However, Ultimus, in a fit of rage, pulls out a pistol and shoots Primus Nikolai. Luckily, he shoots his armor plating and not his head or anything, and Primus Nikolai takes a shotgun and kills Ultimus Nikolai with it. Within minutes, Richtofen secures all 4 characters' souls and teleports them to the house to arrive at the final step of their mission. As always, say it with me, the story is fantastic. It's told extremely well, it's very linear so people can easily follow along. Something really cool this map does is actually introducing Dr. Monty on round 15, 16, and after finishing the Easter egg. He pretty much gives a rundown on what he is and what he does, but it's a really cool teaser for the next map coming up. Something else extremely cool about this map, other than the lore, is the aesthetic and the immersion. The immersion especially, because like Origins, it makes you feel like you're there. It makes you feel like you want to save the day, because this battle was one of the worst in human history. So you do everything you can, fighting through hordes of zombies in a destroyed city, trying to find anything to put it possibly back in repair. And the map utilizes the aesthetic well by actually like incorporating like the shield. The dragons actually have a gameplay implication. It really helps with the immersion and just makes it feel that much more alive, and it makes you feel more motivated to want to continue and try to save the day. Speaking of the dragon, of course, we have the dragon shield and its upgrade. Yes, this shield can be upgraded, but as for the base version, you might not even need to upgrade it because of how good the base version is. So like Zetsubo has a new design, and it's actually based off of a dragon, which is super fire. No pun intended. Taking the shield out, of course, you can bash zombies with it, but you can shoot a fireball that deals infinite damage. That is crazy. And it can even one-shot the mini-boss on this map. And you get a new charge every single round, and you have 3 by default. This is something you're going to want every time you play, no matter what. Design and practicality alone make it an essential tool to your arsenal every single time you play. Something essential to the play loop is actually the new fast travel. At certain points of the map, you can actually open a bridge into this travel to the next side of the map. It's not the coolest thing ever, but it's extremely fast and saves a ton of time and is great for speed running. Something not great for speed running, but being quite a spectacle, is actually the new way to pack-a-punch. The way to pack-a-punch on this map, you need to get 3 Graph modules, defend them, which are pretty much just beacons that fall down from the sky, and then when they land, you just gotta defend them, and then you gotta get the 3 Dragon network controllers from them. You install them, and then you can summon a dragon at Dragon Command Center, Tank Station, or Supply Depot. You can summon a dragon, and then on the dragon's back is actually a carriage, and you can fly on the dragon to a normally inaccessible area of the map to be able to pack-a-punch your guns. Unfortunately, it's not like Kino where you can't get hit by zombies, but in this area where you pack-a-punch, there's a lot of cool things you can do. For one, you can of course pack-a-punch. 2, you can actually use the returning MG42 finally, which is actually a turret on this map, and using the MG42 helps with certain challenges, which once again, of course, return, and you can use the new Dragon Strike controller. But first you gotta do a 5-minute lockdown before that. So in the room next to the top of the stairs is a Dragon Strike controller. However, accessing it will put you in a lockdown, as stated. This lockdown is not very difficult, and you get a free max ammo at any point during it, but you should be noted you cannot get points from this other than 500 for completing it, and you cannot get drops. So make sure you use that max ammo wisely or have a Gobblegum on standby. Anyway, after completing the lockdown, you get the Dragon Strike controller, which in a nutshell is a monkey bomb that refills every single round, and it can be upgraded as well. I will say the upgrade is a little impractical as it's really annoying to do, but it is something you can do do if you want to go the extra mile and give yourself an even easier time on this map. The Dragon Strike is awesome. Something else super cool about this map is the new traps. We have the Gigant Finger Trap and the Gigant Eye Trap. Around the map, you will actually see a giant Origins-like looking robot healed over next to a building, and turning on this trap will cause the robot to shoot a laser down on the spot where the trap is and incinerate any zombies. This is great for a camping strategy up at this location, and if you have your shield out, you can actually run through the trap, so you can stand in the middle of the trap with your shield out and let all the zombies die. The Gigant Finger Trap is also really cool, but it's not nearly as cool as the Gigant Eye Trap, but both are extremely practical, and the Gigant Eye Trap is actually used to get the new Specialist weapon on this map. Yes, like Zetsuba, we have a new Specialist. This one's kind of annoying to get. First, you need to go to the hatchery and get the Dragon Egg, which is where Pack-a-Punch is, by shooting the Dragon Egg right before you go back through the sewers. Yes, they return too, but they're not really a fast travel. They pretty much serve as a gateway to get back to spawn. You get the Dragon Egg, let a dragon breathe fire on it. You do a few challenges looking at the challenge board before you go back and incubate the Dragon Egg. Then it needs to cool down. Pretty much this thing is gated to where you have to advance rounds, so you can't get it on like round 1, kind of like the skull. But after you get it, it'll be well worth the wait because this thing is awesome. This Specialist allows a baby dragon to be on your hand, and you can breathe fire, one-shotting any zombies on any round, even the mini boss zombie. And that's not even all. Pressing the left trigger on your controller, or the ADS button on whatever you're playing on, will allow the dragon to fly off and kill zombies, kind of like the sword on Shadows of Evil. However, that's not all, as you get the 115 punch with the actual gauntlet itself. Using the shoot button, you'll go flying feet in front of you, punching any zombies out of your way and one-shotting anything on the map. This is one of the coolest Specialists, bar none. All the Specialists in Black Ops 3 are just the most badass thing ever, minus the Annihilator. And this thing is no exception. I struggle to call which one is my favorite. These are just all so awesome and so practical, and something you want to get every game. And it's not even too bad to get, as you get some rewards for, of course, going the extra mile to get it, like some XP and stuff like that. Something you unfortunately don't get rewarded for, at least in out-of-game progression, is the new wonder weapon on this map, the Ray Gun Mark III. Yes, not the Mark II, the Mark III. Unlike the KT4 and of course all the other BO3 maps, unfortunately we're back to needing to get it from the box again. This is kind of annoying because there's no way to get it legitly through the map itself, and you have to spin the box. But with Gobblegums in the game and the fact that this thing has a pretty good rate in the box actually, but unfortunately in co-op only one player can get it, and that's probably for good reason considering how over freaking powered this thing is. The gun on the right is pretty much just a Ray Gun Mark I without splash damage and without the splash damage effect, and the gun on the left is actually a gun that shoots a bullet that slows down zombies. It doesn't damage zombies, but it slows them down. This is pretty good if you're trying to keep a zombie at the end of the round, but you don't want to kill it and it keeps attacking you. However, that's not all. This has a secret third effect. Shooting down the bullet that slows down zombies and then shooting with the normal ray gun shot allows a black hole to be created that one-shots literally anything. I feel like I've been saying that a lot now, but pretty much this map has a bunch of awesome things on it that allow you to do that. So I gotta say it. This map just makes you feel awesome. It is awesome. It just has so much going for it, including a new time trial system actually. Yes, there's actually a new system on this map. Getting the various round milestones in very short times allows you to get time trials. These time trials give you a shitload of XP, actually more XP than most Easter eggs do, and you get a unique melee weapon that can one-shot pretty much up to the 30s, though they're a little impractical, so you pretty much don't want to be flying through round if you're going for the Easter egg, but if you're going for high rounds, this is something awesome to strive for, and is a great way for leveling up, and is always a welcome addition that I wish were added to the previous maps. Something most people probably wouldn't be into, of course, is the new mini-boss zombie, the Mangler. The Mangler is a great mini-boss zombie in my opinion, though it doesn't have the greatest rewards ever, kind of like the Margwa, and these guys spawn in way too frequently in my opinion, kind of like the Thrashers, but they're not nearly as annoying, because once again, these guys can pretty much put you on red even with Jug, though they're a lot easier to kill and have much less health than the Thrashers, and cannot create other Manglers by being defeated, so they're a pretty welcome addition in my book. Going down our list of good, we actually arrive at the Easter egg again. Yes, it's in the good section. I know this is very controversial, but allow me to explain. So the first step is to turn on the power, and then get the Pack-a-Punch open. After getting Pack-a-Punch open, you need to get to a Valkyrie round to be able to kill a Valkyrie next to this generator under Pack-a-Punch. After doing this, you need to do one of the worst steps in Zombies history, in my opinion, and that is this obnoxious valve step. You can use the Chronorium.com for this, which is what most people will do. Otherwise, you'll be pretty much studying for an entire new class with how complicated the formula is. It's a really bad step, and I'm not going to talk too much about it, but after you do that and you get the purple cylinder, you actually put the cylinder inside of Sophia's machine, and then you enter the password Chronos on her keyboard. This step can actually be done a lot later in the Easter egg, kind of similar to Origin where you can min-max, though you want to get this step done as soon as possible unless you're a crazy person. The next step is actually to collect 6 trophies around the map. You can find one one under the spot where you use the giant eye laser. You can find one on the statue's hands outside of Dragon Command. You can find one in the toilet after shooting a button when going through the sewer to get back to spawn. You can find one in this pipe at the tank station, which you need to shoot with your shield. It should be noted you cannot upgrade your shield and then shoot this thing, or you will have to restart. Next up, you're going to need to get the Dragon Strikes, and then outside of Supply Depot, you're going to use your Dragon Strike on this puddle to pick up the next trophy. And then the last part is to get the Specialist and then open it from the safe right here. After you do this, you need to place these trophies on these stands in front of this TV here. After doing this, you're on the penultimate step of the Easter egg, though it's not going to be super easy to get to the end, so let's get into it. You'll have one of 6 random challenges that will be selected from, so we'll start with the Valkyrie challenge. At spawn, a green-eyed Valkyrie will slowly emerge into the map, and you need to defend this thing while you escort it to Dragon Command. This thing has 1 health, and you need to keep the zombies away from it. The best thing to do here is use either Undead Man Walking, Raindrops, or the non-mega way is to use the slow bullet shot of the Ray Gun Mark IIIs and keep spamming that on the Valkyrie, and the zombies will pretty much never be able to hit it. But you need to stay really close to this thing, and it has friendly fire on, so if you shoot it, you'll kill it, and if you get too far away from it, the zombie will either kill it or it'll self-destruct. After you do that, we'll next say you got the Mangler challenge. The Mangler challenge is similar to the Valkyrie one. We need to find a green-eyed Mangler who can spawn at one of either 3 sections of the map. However, this Mangler will actually be trying to attack you. The best thing you can do here is shoot off his arm so he runs towards you, and then you need to bring him up and let him get absorbed into this machine. This step is kind of annoying because if you get too far from him, he'll run away and then eventually self-destruct. And if you can't find him because there's no dictation where he spawns, you're going to be in for a rough time, and if you fail any challenge, you need to start it again on the next round. After you complete the Mangler challenge, you'll next have the Groff module challenge. Of course, we know what the Groff modules are, where you need to defend them in the beginning of the game. Well, one will spawn outside the map, and you'll need to do the same thing, and you'll need to make sure to have your Specialist charged for this. This is kill-based, so don't use Undead Man Walking on this. Just a quick pro tip. After you do this, you'll need to get your dragon, and then send him outside the map so he can pick up cargo, and then you need to back up. Otherwise, the dragon will come back up with the cargo and drop it outside the map, so be extremely careful here, and make sure you back up when you send your dragon out to get the cargo. Anyway, after you pick up the cargo, put that cargo inside of Sophia's socket, and then move on to the next one, which is the Gersh challenge. The Gersh challenge is kind of obnoxious if you don't have the Wonder Weapon, but pretty much Gersh from Ascension, yes, Ascension, after freeing him from the Casimir mechanism, will be on this map. And what you'll end up needing to do is go around the map and look for him and shoot him 3 times till he triggers certain dialogue. This can be extremely annoying because you have 5 minutes, and it's extremely hard to tell where Gersh is because you'll be looking for a flashing yellow ball, but there's a lot of yellow lights on this map that kind of blend in with the map itself and can make you think he's close. You can normally hear him, but it's still a bit inconsistent. But if you're quick enough, you have stamina up, you know all the locations you can be at, this step isn't too bad, though the same cannot be said for the next step, which is the bomb step, aka the ruiner of friendships. So pretty much what you need to do here is, after activating the challenge, 6 locations will flash on the screen very quickly. Now there's 2 ways you can do this, solo and co-op. Solo, it's super easy actually, as the timer is extended for this step, and you can pause the game to look at the location you need to activate the bombs in. In co-op, I'm telling you, better have record that ready because you are going to be wanting to make sure you know every single location, otherwise your game will end. Yes, your game will end. That's quite the punishment if you ask me. However, having near-death experience or having a teammate stand outside can remedy that, though it still cannot be disputed that this step is absolutely terrible in my opinion, because there is no way to repeat where the bombs are supposed to be activated, and the timer is a lot shorter in co-op. So make sure you are ready on the dot in co-op, and after you do that, you'll always actually get the next challenge last, which is the Mangler challenge. No matter what, the Mangler challenge will always be at the end in any game, so make sure to keep that in mind. So, after you get the Mangler challenge, you're going to need to take this key card from the socket under the TV, and then go to the hatchery. In the basement, you'll see this computer here. We need to insert the key card, and then you need to use your neighbor's Wi-Fi to download some secret data onto this drive, while holding off an entire wave of Manglers. There's an exploit here where you can just run around with a single Mangler, but I don't really find that too fun, so I usually just kill all the Manglers I see. So after you're done, you take the key card, go back to Sophia again, and then you need to put the key card inside of Sophia's socket, and then you're actually eligible to get the power core out. After picking up the power core, go back to spawn and let your dragon take the power core over to the destroyed Nikolai mech, which he will repair it at that point. After he repairs it, head back over to Sophia, and now you're on the boss fight. Quick word of warning though, make sure you have your dragon strikes, you have your specialist charge, you have a pretty solid gobblegum, make sure you have the Mark IIIs if you're in solo, or make sure you have one of your teammates has the Mark IIIs in co-op, make sure you have the L4 siege, make sure you have a very sturdy shield, and make sure you have your A-game game ready, because this is going to be tough. So let's hop into it. So what you're going to do after Sophia nopes out of here because she doesn't want to help you with the boss fight, you need to go where she was standing originally, and you'll be sent through a second path in the sewer, where you'll be spat out behind the spawn area. After you arrive here, you need to actually press a button. If you don't press the button, you'll actually be playing the game in one of the best areas to train in the entire map. And in fact, actually probably in Zombies history. You can technically just chill here if you wanted, but I really wouldn't recommend that. Let's just get this boss fight over with. We both know we need to get it done. So after pressing the button, the robot that uses the giant eye laser will actually shoot a laser over to Nikolai to destroy the rubble he's stuck in. And after the rubble is destroyed, Nikolai will fly up and land next to you, where Nikolai is on your team. Yes, you have a mech suit on your team. That's badass. No time to dawdle though, as the dragon's here. And the dragon is pretty tough. So after the dragon lands, he'll breathe fire across the entire map. So you need to get your shield out and wait for Nikolai to shoot a harpoon on the dragon, exposing a weak point. After Nikolai exposes a weak point, you're going to need to get to cover and then make sure you're able to shoot the weak spot. The dragon will do a specific animation if you've done this correctly. Doing this 3 times, the last harpoon being the dragon's neck, will kill the dragon itself, in which a cutscene will ensue. Your character delivers the news to Nikolai that his soul is required in order to prevent certain destruction in the universe, but Nikolai doesn't want to hear any of it. Nikolai is not going down without a fight. So reluctantly, your characters actually have to fight Nikolai now, which is no doubt in the discussion for the hardest boss fight of all time. So what Nikolai will do here is many attacks. Nikolai actually has a machine gun, which does about 2 hits of damage, and if he hits you with enough with this thing, you'll go down instantly. So make sure you're on your A game when in this boss fight and you're moving around constantly. There will be infinitely spawning Valkyries, Manglers, zombies, and the entire parade will be after you in this boss fight. So make sure you're doing a lot of running, of course, and then shoot his yellow weak points when they reveal themselves. After shooting 5 of these weak points, Nikolai's mech will eventually keel over and you'll actually be witnessing the cutscene itself. After a long and strenuous boss fight, I would argue you got rewarded with a very nice cutscene. And the players who aren't playing as Richtofen actually get to hear a quote from Dr. Monty. Of course, you get a bunch of XP, you get a Perkaholic, and you actually unlock a secret ability, which is if you have any robot here, you can actually teleport to the boss fight arena if you're lucky enough. So that's something to keep in mind. All in all though, I personally think the Easter egg is perfectly fine. The ability to use Gobblegum seriously softens the blow that this Easter egg is. And since it can be mastered and be done in solo, anybody can try this Easter egg and get good at it. All in all, a great Easter egg on what is a great map, in my opinion. So something quick I want to talk about is actually, like on Zetsubo, we have the map exclusive weapons. We have the return of the PPSH-41 from World at War, which is just as good in this game as it is in that game, in my opinion. We have the L4 Siege, which I talked about being good for the boss fight. You have the NX Shadow Claws, which are kind of weird. They're not great, but they're pretty good upgrade, and I believe they can revive teammates when upgraded, which is really cool. We have the return of the HG-40, and actually the return of the MX Garand, which I forgot to talk about in my Zetsubo review. This gun was also introduced on that map, and it's only on these 2 maps here. A really good gun that can't reload, but it packs quite a punch, especially with double tap. Something else cool on this map that returns from Shadows of Evil is the helmets. You actually get the wings, which you can skip the dragon cutscene animation going to pack a punch. Scratch 1 from the cons list. We have the Valkyrie helmet, which allows you to take damage reduction from Valkyries, and the Mangler helmet, which is my personal favorite. You get a really cool helmet that actually appears on your character, and you take damage reduction from Manglers, which is really cool. All in all, we had a laundry list of good things to talk about, and we have a few bad things to talk about, so let's waste no time. As I was talking about in the Easter egg, the valve step is garbage. There is no reason this needs to be so complicated, and the bomb step in co-op is just unnecessarily cruel in my opinion. This entire step would be completely fine if you could redo the TV screen to show you the bomb location you need to activate, but you can't, and if you mess up once, your entire team goes down if they're inside a building, which is just terrible design in my opinion. Something else I hate is actually the new type of Hellhounds. Like Zetsubo having spiders, we have Valkyries on here that don't even fit the aesthetic of the map, being a futuristic drone that doesn't even fit in the timeline. These guys suck. They have way too much health, they can block doorways, they get in the way, they're annoying, they make the boss fight 3 times harder. These guys just suck all around. Anyway though, that brings us to the end of Gorod Krovi. Yes, that's the end of the con section. I really don't have anything bad to talk about, not even the Wonder Weapon being in the box again, because its rates are a lot higher, and it's not required for the Easter egg. Gorod Krovi, in my opinion, lives up to its expectations and then some, and being an absolutely titanic map. Wait, no, fuck, no, we're not there yet. Sorry. Inside of this game, holding his own in the big league of Black Ops 3. Every single map in this game is in the big leagues, pretty much. But yes, this map holds its own. It's properly rated, properly judged, and I cannot disagree with the sentiment that this map is badass incarnate.